New witness emerges. What's being alleged now? Just when the palace thought the flames had settled, a brand new witness has stepped into the light, and what they're claiming could tear Prince Andrew's narrative apart. This is not recycled gossip or old court files. The source reportedly has emails, messages, and first-hand records that trace Andrew's behavior after the scandal first erupted. What's being claimed? That Andrew wasn't running from Epstein. He was allegedly asking his team for help in managing the backlash, begging for ways to cover his trail once the world started watching. The witness says Andrew worked with Epstein's lawyers to form denials, pushing back hard against the media storm. But here's where it gets messy. That directly contradicts his years of public claims. Remember when Andrew insisted he had cut ties with Epstein after his crimes came to light? Well, this testimony suggests the opposite. He was allegedly still connected and worried about optics, not morality.
As one insider put it, this wasn't just a friendship gone wrong, it was a crisis being controlled behind closed doors.
And that brings us to what this really means. The Epstein scandal is no longer old news. It's still evolving. And now it's got fresh fuel. Next, how deep does the Epstein connection really go? The Epstein connection, more than a friendship. Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein weren't just acquaintances at fancy events. Their relationship, according to flight logs and old schedules, spanned over 20 years. There were private jet flights, secluded trips, and yes, money trails. Financial documents show transfers and unexplained payments tied to places and dates that link Andrew to Epstein's circle. And now, with thousands of Epstein's emails turned over to investigators, Andrew's past is under new scrutiny. The timeline of their contact appears longer than he's ever publicly admitted. What's even more shocking, the new witness claims Andrew leaned on Epstein for help managing accusations, not just in 2019, as far back as 2009, when the first wave of allegations began. That doesn't sound like someone cutting off a toxic friend. It sounds like someone clinging to a damage control team. One U.S. investigator reportedly said, "We expected silence from the rich, but what we're seeing is coordination." And with that, another haunting figure resurfaces, Virginia Giuffre. Virginia Giuffre's posthumous revelations. When Virginia Giuffre's memoir, Nobody's Girl, dropped in early 2025, it changed everything. It wasn't just another account, it was her final word. Published after her death, the book gave shocking, detailed claims against Prince Andrew, outlining 3 alleged sexual encounters across London, New York, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. She said she was underage at the time. In one section, she wrote, "He acted like he didn't see me as a person, just a piece in the game." What makes this moment explosive is how her posthumous voice echoes in the new witnesses' statements. The locations match, the timelines align, and the pressure she described, the witness now confirms it, saying Andrew's team allegedly worked overtime trying to discredit Virginia, including digging into her personal life, spinning narratives, and using Epstein's legal contacts to silence the noise. The book even describes a chilling moment, a 2001 photo taken in Ghislaine Maxwell's townhouse, the same one Buckingham Palace tried to dismiss as unreliable. Yet Virginia claimed it was just one of many private meetings. Even years after she settled her lawsuit, Giuffre's story kept surfacing. Why? Because she never backed down. And now, the witness claims Andrew feared her, not for what she'd done, but for what she knew. In the words of her attorney, Virginia fought powerful people with nothing but her truth. Now, even in death, she's being heard. And as that truth ripples across headlines again, it slams straight into Andrew's very public denials. Next, what was he really doing behind closed doors while claiming innocence on camera? Andrew's public denials versus private reality. We all remember that infamous BBC interview from 2019 where Prince Andrew insisted he had no recollection of meeting Virginia and claimed he ended ties with Epstein once he knew of the crimes. But behind the scenes, the new evidence paints a very different picture. Private communications revealed that Andrew was still in touch with Epstein after his 2008 conviction. Some emails show him discussing media strategy, even suggesting ways to present a united message, code, the witness says, for coordinated denial. He reportedly asked Epstein's legal team for help in crafting responses to allegations that won't go away. This wasn't someone shocked and appalled. This was someone allegedly managing reputation, not distancing from danger. One leaked email reads, "We need something bulletproof. I can't have this spinning out again." This directly clashes with his years of royal reassurances that he had no further contact after 2010. It turns out the relationship may have quietly continued far longer, until the headlines made it impossible. And the worst part? The witness says Andrew knew his denials weren't airtight. He allegedly asked for joint statements with Epstein, hoping to show a misunderstood friendship rather than the truth, that Epstein helped him navigate scandal. As one former palace aide put it, he wasn't cutting ties. He was tightening them, just behind the curtain. Now, with these contradictions stacking up, attention is shifting overseas, where lawmakers are starting to demand action. Next, how the U.S. is turning up the heat on Andrew like never before. U.S. lawmakers turn up the heat. In mid-2025, the scandal surrounding Andrew Mountbatten Windsor crossed borders, and the pressure became official. A U.S. House Oversight Committee issued a formal request for Andrew to provide testimony under oath regarding his past connections to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. The letter wasn't vague. It requested a transcribed interview under penalty of perjury, a phrase typically used when investigators suspect someone may be more than just a passive bystander. Insiders say this wasn't a fishing expedition. The committee had already reviewed thousands of pages of documents recovered from Epstein's estate, including emails, flight logs, and internal memos. Some of those communications allegedly involved Andrew directly. The request sent shockwaves through Washington and Westminster. But Andrew? He stayed silent. No comment, no statement, no sign of cooperation. According to U.S. officials, he missed 2 deadlines to acknowledge the request. A congressional aide, frustrated by the inaction, reportedly told Politico, "If he weren't a royal, we'd already have him under subpoena. We're not asking anymore, we're demanding." Behind closed doors, talks are escalating. There are now serious discussions in the U.S. Justice Department about whether to issue a formal diplomatic request to the UK Home Office, which could spark a rare and politically charged standoff between the 2 allied nations. And back home, the pressure is multiplying. Members of Parliament across party lines are now publicly calling for Andrew to cooperate. One MP told The Times, "He's not above the law. If he has nothing to hide, he should testify." Even traditionally cautious outlets like The Telegraph and The Spectator have shifted their tone, urging the royal family to stop shielding him. The public wants action. A recent Sky News poll revealed that 81% of British adults believe Andrew should respond to U.S. investigators. The court of public opinion is no longer on his side, and hasn't been for a long time. Media figures are going further, calling his silence a stain on the crown. One former royal correspondent tweeted, This isn't royal protocol. It's strategic avoidance, and people see through it. As the silence deepens, U.S. legal experts are warning that the clock is ticking. If Andrew refuses to cooperate voluntarily, the committee could take the unprecedented step of pushing for an international legal summons, forcing the issue onto the global stage. One law professor speaking to Al Jazeera said it plainly. There's no diplomatic immunity for disgrace. If he knows something, they'll get it, one way or another. And while all of this unfolds across the Atlantic, Buckingham Palace was already preparing for the next step, a decision that would shock even the most hardened royal watchers. Next, the king's brutal response that left Andrew stripped of nearly everything. Stripped of titles, the fall from grace. In August 2025, the moment many had long demanded finally came. King Charles III made the decision official. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor was stripped of all remaining royal titles, military honors, and public affiliations. The announcement was swift and brutal. There were no soft statements, no gentle phrasing, just a formal bulletin from Buckingham Palace, confirming what many thought would never happen. The Duke of York will no longer carry any royal or honorary appointments. He will not return to public duties. Inside palace walls, this had been building for weeks. According to insiders, pressure from senior royals, political advisors, and the furious British public left Charles with no room to delay. Sources say meetings were held in early July, where concerns were raised about the damage Andrew's ongoing scandals were doing to monarchy's long-term stability. A high-ranking palace aide revealed, "The king wanted a clean break. He told us, we can't leave this to linger another year. It's now or never." The result? A complete erasure of Andrew's public identity. He is no longer addressed as His Royal Highness. The title Duke of York, once given with pride in 1986, has been quietly retired. Legally, he is now referred to simply as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, a name rarely used until now. Military roles, gone. Charity patronages, dissolved. His attendance at family events has been cut back to private only, with no cameras, no mentions, and no official capacity. Behind the scenes, this wasn't just a signature on paper. It involved royal legal teams, government liaisons, and crisis advisors working to remove Andrew from ceremonial and state-related documents, including the order of precedence and military order roles. Even seasoned royal commentators were stunned by the speed and finality of the move. One former staffer told The Telegraph, Andrew begged to keep at least one honorary military title, something to hold on to. But the answer was no. Completely no. Public reaction was immediate and overwhelmingly in support. A Court YouGov poll taken just days after the announcement showed that 72% of respondents backed the king's decision, calling it necessary for the future of the monarchy. Across social media, reactions ranged from long overdue to finally some accountability. Still, not everyone saw it as a conclusion. Some warned it was only the beginning of a deeper unraveling. As one royal commentator said on BBC Newsnight, this wasn't just punishment, it was containment. But there's more coming, and the crown knows it. Because even as Andrew was erased from royal roles, his residence, legacy, and lifestyle perks were still intact, for now. And the palace knew exactly what had to happen next. Coming up, the eviction, the rebranding, and the backlash that followed. Royal property turmoil, rebranding, and eviction. After being stripped of his titles and honors, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor faced a second, deeply personal humiliation: eviction. In September 2025, he was officially ordered to leave Royal Lodge, the historic 30-room residence nestled in Windsor Great Park, where he had lived for more than 2 decades. It wasn't just a logistical decision, it was a message. According to multiple palace sources, King Charles III personally instructed royal aides to resolve the lodge situation permanently. Despite Andrew holding a 75-year lease agreement signed back in 2003, royal legal teams argued that the current climate, including public backlash, media scrutiny, and ongoing legal drama, made his continued residence impossible to justify. For Andrew, the lodge wasn't just a home. It was his last royal fortress, a quiet place of privilege that allowed him to remain visible, but distant, present, but detached. Now that comfort is gone. Insiders say the move blindsided him. According to reports in the New York Post, Andrew pushed back fiercely, demanding a new 6-bedroom residence, complete with full-time staff and a 24/7 security detail, even though he is no longer a working royal. The palace response? A firm no. He was offered a modest cottage near Frogmore House, ironically, the same location that once sparked controversy when used by Harry and Meghan. A courtier revealed, Andrew was livid. He believes he's being erased from the royal map, and in many ways, he is. And the erasure isn't just symbolic, it's literal. Royal institutions across the UK are distancing themselves, fast. The St. Andrew's Golf Club, once proudly tied to Andrew's patronage, has begun a quiet rebranding campaign, removing plaques, taking down photographs, and reissuing club material that no longer bears his name. One longtime member called it the final nail in a broken legacy. Behind palace walls, his household is being dismantled. His valet, Paul, who had served him loyally for nearly 30 years, was recently let go, along with 3 chefs, 2 drivers, and the private groundskeeping staff. Yet somehow, Andrew isn't stepping back. He's pushing forward with requests for funding. In documents revealed through the Royal Finance Office, Andrew reportedly asked for £3 million in taxpayer money to cover relocation and security expenses. The response from the public? Outrage. Social media exploded with anger, and even royal commentators slammed the request as tone-deaf and offensive. The message is clear. The monarchy is moving on. And Andrew, despite his resistance, is being left behind. As headlines multiply and palace doors close, the public's patience is evaporating fast. Next, the anger boiling over and the people demanding answers louder than ever before. Public outcry and opinion shifts. The public mood? Furious and focused. In poll after poll throughout 2025, a growing majority has called for Andrew to face U.S. investigators directly. One YouGov survey showed 78% of Brits believe he should testify under oath about his connections to Jeffrey Epstein. In the streets, online, and on primetime talk shows, the same question keeps echoing. Why hasn't he spoken? Even royal commentators, once protective, are flipping the script. On a viral BBC panel, one analyst said, Andrew's fall isn't just personal, it's institutional. This touches the crown. Across social media, the hashtag Andrew Accountability trends weekly. Public figures, survivors, advocates, and even former politicians are demanding transparency. The common message? This isn't going away. Several protest groups have gathered outside royal events, holding signs like "No Silence in the Palace" and "Justice for Virginia." But it's not just Andrew they're targeting. Critics now argue the monarchy itself must do more. After all, How did he stay protected for so long? Who helped him behind the scenes? Why weren't investigations started sooner? ABC News ran an op-ed in November 2025 titled, "From Prince to Problem: Why Andrew's Scandal Still Haunts the Crown." It questioned how deep the silence went and whether more royals were aware of the truth. As one protester outside Clarence House put it, this isn't just about Andrew anymore, it's about a system that protected him. With each headline, the calls grow louder. The world doesn't want palace statements, it wants action. And right now, the storm shows no signs of stopping. Next, how this entire saga may have exposed the system built to protect the powerful. The system that protected the powerful. By the end of 2025, the headlines had shifted. It wasn't just about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor anymore, it was about the system that kept him untouchable. A network of silence, power, and privilege that operated quietly for decades, now cracking wide open. For over 20 years, powerful figures around Andrew allegedly looked the other way, ignored red flags, or worse, actively shielded him. According to multiple sources tied to U.S. investigations, there was a calculated effort to protect not just Andrew's name, but the reputation of the monarchy itself. That meant killing stories, rerouting pressure, and avoiding scrutiny at all costs. One veteran legal analyst told The Guardian, "The scandal isn't just what Andrew did. It's how many people helped him avoid the fallout. That's the real story now." In documents recently uncovered from the Epstein estate, investigators discovered that Andrew's name appeared repeatedly in media planning files. During several major press panics, including the 2011 Epstein rearrest and the 2019 BBC interview disaster, internal royal communications allegedly instructed media outlets to back off or face loss of access. A strategy labeled non-engagement was the palace's preferred method. No comment, no cooperation, just pressure applied quietly. One former editor at a UK tabloid revealed, "We were warned off certain stories. Not officially, but the message was clear. If we pushed too hard on Andrew, we'd lose the entire royal pipeline." Then came a stunning claim. In a sealed deposition leaked in late 2025, Ghislaine Maxwell reportedly stated that Andrew was protected by structure. She didn't name names, but strongly suggested that royal legal teams and government contacts helped deflect scrutiny in the early 2000s, particularly after Virginia Giuffre first filed civil complaints in 2011. One U.S. source close to the congressional Epstein investigation summed it up bluntly. People didn't just avoid question, they built a wall around him. Lawyers, royal staff, even diplomats helped hold the line. Now, cracks are forming in that wall. Investigative journalists, former royal aides, and even political voices are demanding a public inquiry into how far the crown's influence went. Did the monarchy interfere with law enforcement? Were UK intelligence services used to monitor or suppress press leaks? Did the palace knowingly protect Andrew, or was it protecting something bigger? One reporter on Sky News said it plainly. "This was never about just one man. It's about a machine built to survive at any cost. And what happens when the machine starts to break? Because if this protective system finally collapses, it won't just take Andrew down. It might take others with him. And that leads us to the biggest question of all. In the fallout of these revelations, what happens now to the monarchy itself? What this means for the monarchy's future? The scandal surrounding Andrew Mountbatten Windsor has done something few expected. It pierced the royal armor. For decades, the British monarchy has survived everything from divorces and tabloid chaos to exile and abdication. But this cut deeper. What started as a disgrace involving one prince has now spiraled into a crisis of public faith. A recent Ipsos poll showed that trust in royal transparency has dropped by more than 40% since 2020. And it's not just the numbers, it's the tone. Younger generations in particular now say they no longer see the royals as untouchable. Some go even further, calling the crown outdated, unaccountable, and dangerously insulated. Even King Charles III, known for his cautious diplomacy and composed leadership, has been forced into crisis mode. Stripping Andrew of all titles, removing him from Royal Lodge, and cutting his access to royal funds weren't just symbolic punishments. They were acts of damage control, a clear message to the public and the press. No one is above consequences anymore. A palace insider told The Times, "The king sees this as a stress test." He told aides privately, "If we don't adapt now, we may not survive the next public storm." And adaptation has already begun. Behind palace walls, a quiet transformation is underway. The Duchess of Cambridge, Catherine, has taken on a far more public-facing role, leading outreach initiatives and recentering the monarchy around duty and service. Sources say she has become a strategic figurehead, carefully stepping into the space left by scandal to project stability and trust. Meanwhile, Prince William is reportedly chairing internal discussions on future-proofing the institution, including proposals for a royal ethics board, stronger public accountability measures, and a complete review of royal patronage vetting processes. The idea? Ensure no future scandals catch the crown off guard again. Still, none of these reforms can erase Andrew's shadow. His legal status remains in limbo, his finances are being watched closely, and his public image, once flawed but tolerated, is now irreparably damaged. Worse still, there are whispers of more witnesses preparing to come forward, each one threatening to drag old secrets back into the light. As one royal historian said in a powerful BBC interview, "The monarchy has weathered wars, divorces, and abdications, but what it faces now is different. It's an existential reckoning. If it wants to survive the 21st century, it must prove it deserves to. Because this story isn't over. Not even close. And the next bombshell, many believe, is already on its way."